Hi, everybody. How are you today? It's Dr. Christina Baker, and it's my dog collection. Hello, hello. Isn't that cool? All these different types of dolls. I have two that are missing here. I think they ended up at my sister's house by accident, but it's my dog collection. I also have my medals from my marathons and my book collection, my degrees, and a skeleton, and more figurines. I collect cat figurines and I collect dolls and books. Love books too. But anyways, we're on week 12, so we're going to go ahead and continue. I have some PowerPoints. They're going to be going over chapter 16 and chapter 17. We'll shop for 16. Last week we talked a little bit about logistics and supply chain management, so we're going to go ahead and continue with that this week. The learning objectives this is to understand the escalating importance of logistics and supply chain management as crucial tools for competitiveness. We're going to learn about materials management and physical distribution to learn why logistics is more complex than domestic logistics, and to see how transportation infrastructure in host countries often dictates the options open to the manager. To learn why university inventory management is crucial for success. International logistics is a design and management of the system and controls the forward and reverse flow of materials, services, and information into, through, and out of international corporation. International logistics, through the implementation of internal logistics, the firm can implement cost-saving programs such as just-in-time, JIT, electronic data interchange, EDI, and early supplier involvement, ESI. The two phases of movement of materials include materials management and timely movement of materials, parts, and supplies. Physical distribution, or the movement of the firm's physical product and the customers. That's totally the 90s. We have three concepts of business logistics: total cost concept, systems concept, and the trade off concept. Supply chain management. Supply chain management is the integration of business processes from the end user through original suppliers and provide products, services, and information that add value for customers. Supply chain management connects with the company's supply side with its demand side. It opens up with supplier relationships for companies outside the buyer's domestic market. We have international supply chain, suppliers, we have corporation and customers. We have domestic import sourcing, we have outport materials, through flow, and outbound materials. Transportation infrastructure. A firm's logistics platform is determined by a location's ease and convenience of market research under favorable cost circumstances and public sector's investment priorities, safety regulations, tax incentives, and transport policies can have major effects on logistics decision of firms. The logistics manager must learn about existing and planned infrastructure abroad and at home and factor them into the firm's strategy. Vessels used in ocean shipping, bulk service, linear service, and tramp. Air freight. Air freight is available to and most countries, including the developing world. International air freight is expected to grow to 190 billion tons in 2005. Compared to only 70 billion tons in 1995. 40% of the world's manufactured travel by air. Items that are high value or high in density tend to travel by air. Considerations for selecting a mode of transport: transport time, predictability, cost, and non-economic factors. Export documentation. A bill of lading is a contract between an exporter and carrier indicating the carrier has expected responsibility for goods and will provide transportation in return for payment. Commercial invoice is a bill for the goods stating the basic information about transaction, including a description of the merchandise, total cost of goods sold, addresses the shipper and seller, and delivery and payment terms. A freight forwarder specializes in handling export documentation. International inventory issues. Inventories tie up major portion of corporate funds. Therefore, proper inventory policies should be a major concern to international logistication. Just-in-time inventory policies minimize the volume of inventory by making it available only when needed. The purpose of establishing inventory systems are to maintain product movement in the delivery pipeline to have a cushion to absorb demand fluctuations. 3 factors that decide the level of inventory: desired customer service levels, order cycle time, and use of inventories like a strategic tool. International packaging issues. Packaging is instrumental in getting the merchandise to the destination in a safe, presentable condition. Because of the added stress on international shipping, packaging is adequate for domestic shipping, may be inadequate for international shipping. Packaging consideration that should be taken into account are environmental conditions and weight. One solution to the packaging problem has been development of the intermodule containers, and cost attention must be paid to international packaging. Storage facilities. A stationary period is involved when the merchandise becomes inventory stored in the warehouses. The location decision addresses how many distribution centers have and where to locate them. Storage facilities abroad can differ in availability and quality. Logisticians should analyze international product sales and rank them in the products according to warehousing needs. Special trade zones. Foreign trade zones are areas where foreign goods may be held or processed and re-exported without incurring duties. Trade zones can be useful as transshipment points to reduce logistics costs and redesign marketing approaches. Governments and firms benefit from foreign trade zones. Export processing zones and economic zones. In export processing zones, special rules apply that are different in other regions of the country. These zones usually provide tax-free and duty-free treatment for production facilities whose output is designed abroad. The Mosquitoes of Mexico are an example of this program that permits firms to take advantage of sharp differentials in labor costs. Through creation of special economic zones, the Chinese government has attracted many foreign investors, bringing in millions of dollars. Centralized logistics management. In international logistics, the existence of headquarters staff that retain decision-making power over logistics is important. To avoid international problems, both headquarters staff and local management should report to one person. This individual can contribute to an objective view when inventable conflicts arise in international logistics coordination. Outsourcing logistics services. Systematic outsourcing of logistic capabilities is a third person. Private warehouses, other specialists. Corporate resources can be concentrated in the firm's core product. One-stop logistics allows shoppers to buy the transport models and functional services from a single courier. The supply chain and the internet. Because the internet, firms are able to conduct many global comparisons among suppliers and select from a wider variety of choices. When consumers have ability to access the company through the internet, the company must be prepared for a 24-hour order taking and customer service. For all the countries, particularly in developing nations, the issue of universal access to the internet is crucial. After terrorist attacks in 2001, companies have dealt with the fact that the pace of international transaction has slowed down, and formerly routine steps will now take longer. Logistics systems and modern transportation systems are often the target of attacks. The need to institute new safeguards for international shipments will affect the ability of firms to effectively plan their international shipments. Since environmental laws and regulations differ across the globe, a firm's effort needs to be responsive to a wide variety of requirements. Reverse distributions are instrumental in ensuring the firm not only delivers the product to the market, but also to retrieve it from the market for subsequent use, recycling, or disposal. Companies need to learn to simultaneously achieve environmental and economic goals. Continuing. Walmart Supercenter. We can see Walmart in many different countries. Also, we have Sam's Club. Sam's Club is kind of like Costco, they have larger amounts of things. Did you know that it was all from one person named Sam Walton? Just a fun fact for you. Okay, so continuing, characterize the nature of marketing. Oops. Identify promotion issues, evaluate promotion decisions, international business, discuss basic cost of distribution, issues and decisions in the international business. Marketing's process of planning, executing conception, idea, promotion, distribution of ideas, goods, services to create exchanges that satisfy individual organizational goals. International business is an extension of these marketing activities across national borders. The operations management, accounting, finance, and human resource management, all part of marketing. Then you have differentiation, cost leadership, and focus. How to develop firms' products, how to sell these products. Then we have business strategies, differentiation, cost leadership, and focus. Product, pricing, etc. Key decision factors, standardization versus customization. Legal forces, economic factors, changing exchange rates, target customers, culture influences. Standardized versus customization, ethnocentric approach, polycentric, and geocentric approach. You have advantages, like reducing marketing costs, and disadvantages, like ignoring different conditions of product use. You can see the advantages and disadvantages here. More advantages and disadvantages. Advantages like reflect different conditions. Knowledge local legal differences. Disadvantage could be increased costs or inefficiencies. Product, it compromises both sets of tangible factors. The customer can see or touch physical product, packaging, numerous intangible like imagination, installation, warranties. Then you have standardization, legal forces, cultural influences, and economic factors, and name brands. We also have business strategy, competitive environment, cost of doing business, exchange rate fluctuation. Pricing policy, standard price policy, two-tier pricing, market pricing. Determining the product maximizing price, finding profit maximizing price of two markets. Conditions for marketing prices, firm must face different demand or cost products in the country which it sells the product. Firms must be able, we can charge dumping, damaged brand, development of the gray market, and consumer resentment. Those are all risks to the market pricing policy. Promotion is advertising, personal selling, sales promotion, and public relations. Factors affecting the advertising strategy, message it wants to convey, the media available for conveying the message, and the extent to which the firm wants to globalize the advertising. When advertising, the message is facts and impressions the advertiser wants to convey to a particular message. Medium, the communication channel used by the advisor. Global advertising. A consumer entertaining a domino parlor in Egypt encounters no language barriers and knowing that the establishment serves Coke. Personal selling, making sales on the basis of personal contacts. We have local sales, representative understand local culture, norms, and customs. Personal selling promotes flows. Personal contact with customers. Personal selling makes it easier for firm to adopt valuable market information. Sales promotion compromises specialized marketing efforts designed to offer incentive to behaviors such as coupons, in-store promotions, sampling, direct mail campaigns, cooperative advancing, and trade. Public relations consist of efforts aimed at enhancing a firm's reputation and image in general public, as opposed to touting specific advantages of individual product or service. Distribution issues, physical transportation mode, and merchandising mode. We have mode, train, or airplane, or truck, or ship, electronic media. Each one has its own advantages and also has disadvantages. And you have sample products, like things that might go by train is automobiles or grains, airplane, maybe jewelry, medicine, truck, consumer goods, ship, maybe automobiles, furniture, media, data would be information. Don't forget manufacturer, wholesaler, or detailer, and customer. Manufacturer, you'd have like an import agent, maybe it goes straight to customer, or maybe it even goes to the retailer, or maybe warehouse. Some places you can actually buy the item at the warehouse. When I lived in Lakewood, there was this place in Long Beach, and it was like a candy warehouse. I've never been there because I'm always trying to watch my weight so I don't become morbidly obese. But I never went there. But I did have a couple friends that went there. I had a friend that was getting married. She went there and got a bunch of candy for her wedding. She said it was really cool. It was like a warehouse, and they would just have bulks of candy. So looking at this, we can see jumpstarting, can America become an isolated country or just stop trading with other countries? What types of goods and services are mentioned in this scenario could be considered necessity by members of the community and why? Where does community get these goods and services? How much community needs are met by getting goods and services from other community? There are different scenarios like Williamsburg, Virginia, 17th century. Scenario 2, Devane, Navajo Village, 15th century. Scenario 3, New York, 19th century. Century 4, Samskar Episcan, 10th century. Scenario 5, hometown, 21st century. Scenario 6, ancient village, 5,000 years ago. Everybody's specializing in these days. Each country in the world possesses different types and quantities of land, labor, human capital, and capital resources and physical capital. Other inputs, economic activity patterns, need for trade, and equal resource distribution. Specialization, trade can benefit all nations. A person or nation has absolute advantage when it produces a particular good at lower cost than another person or nation. Comparative advantage is the ability of one person or nation to produce a good at a lower opportunity cost than another person or nation. Is it a better way to outsourcing a good thing? Good point. Okay. Sorry, I went too far. Okay, each country in the world possesses different types of quantities of land, labor, human capital, and capital resources, physical capital, other imports like economic activity patterns, need for trade, and equal resource distribution. Specialization in trade can benefit all nations. A person or nation has absolute advantage when it produces a particular good at lower cost than another person or nation. Comparative advantage is the ability of one person or nation to produce a good at a lower opportunity cost than another person or nation. A law of comparative advantage states the nations are better off when they produce goods and services for which they have comparative advantage in supplying. Exports, U.S. the export largest importer. Trade deficit, U.S. export minus imports, and billions a month seasonally adjusted. We also have issues with unemployment. Workers who lose their jobs due to specialization face 3 options. We have unemployment and inability to find and adapt to a new job. Relocation, maybe moving to current skills to meet a current job. Retraining, gaining new human capital to meet the demands of specialized labor markets. And then should companies protect domestic companies from foreign competition in order to protect American companies from American jobs? Should Americans protect domestic companies from foreign competition in order to protect American companies from American jobs? Good question. We could look at the trade barrier, means of preventing a foreign product or service from freely entering a nation's territory. We have import quotas. Import quota is a limit of the amount of good can be imported. Voluntary export restraints. Voluntary export restraint is a self-imposed limitation on the number of products shipped to a certain country. Tariffs. A tariff is a tax on imported goods, such as custom duty, high license free, and health and safety regulations. Increased price for foreign goods. Tariffs and other good barriers increase the cost of imported products, making domestic products more competitive. Although manufacturers of many products may benefit from trade barriers, consumers lose out. Trade wars. When a country restricts imports, its trading partner may impose its own regulatory restrictions. Poly smoke tariff. Raise tariff on all products 50%. Europe responds in kind, shrinks the U.S. world into deeper depression. Recent trends have been toward the lowering of trade barriers. 1948 General Agreement on Tariff and Trade, GATT, was established to reduce the tariffs and expand world trade. In 1995, the World Trade Organization, WTO, was founded to ensure compliance with the GATT, to negotiate new trade agreements and resolve the trade disputes. The international trade markets and appreciation of the value of currency is called appreciation. A decrease in the value of currency is called depreciation. Multinational firms convert currencies on the foreign exchange market, a network of about 2,000 banks and other financial institutions. The value of your own currency in comparison to another is the exchange rate. Here you go. This right here is reading exchange rate table. The following table shows examples of exchange rates. We can see US dollar, as it compares to other countries, Australian, UK, Canadian, the yen, the euro, the Mexican nuevo peso, and Chinese renminbi. We have fixed exchange rate systems, a currency system in which each government try to keep values of their currencies consistent against one another is called fixed exchange rate. Flexible exchange rate systems. Flexible exchange rate systems allow the exchange rate to be determined by supply and demand. Notion, exports more than imports, that has a trade surplus. When a nation imports more than exports, it creates a trade deficit. When the trade deficit, United States has run on trade deficits since early 1970s. Why trade deficit? Imports of foreign oil, as well as American enjoyment of all imported goods, account for part of the large American trade deficit. Reducing the trade deficit, quotas and other trade barriers can be used to raise the prices of foreign-made goods and urge consumers to buy domestic goods. Oh, we're almost at a halfway mark, so let me go ahead and give you a little break for 10 minutes. Let me do 10-minute timer. Sometimes it gets weird if I am recording and I'm using an online timer, like on a video. But if I do like a stopwatch, it's okay. But sometimes when I play like the music ones, it flags it as a copyright infringement or something. Sorry, we'll just do the silent video.
Los pajaritos. ¿Dónde están los pajaritos?
Okay, back to the chapter. Right into that one. In the chapter outline here, describe the nature of international operations management, analyze supply chain management and vertical integration decisions facing the international operations manager, analyze immediate productivity, and discuss how international firms work to improve it. Explain how firms control quality and discuss the total quality management of international business. Analyze how international firms control the information their managers need to make effective decisions. Race into the market. Sorry, commercials. Okay. We have like a Spanish retailer, maybe established in 1975, first national store in 1989, presently more than 3,700 stores in 75 countries, compared to another company like Italian cloth chain, established in 1955, first retail store in 1968. Then presently 6,500 outlets in 120 countries. Bennington is the one in Mexico. It's centralized design and production, tight control over cost, quality, styling, reasonable prices. Manager tracks sales level and use information in the plan. And fill out any order through the world in 3 to 27 days. Change production line once every season. NTDEX, upscale stores and high fashion centers. Youth-oriented stores, it doesn't franchise. Its own store. Stock its store and new designs twice a week and change the entire production line within a few weeks. Some U.S. retailers, such as Abercrombie and Finch, Gap, H&M, have become a strong competitor. Urban Outfitters has invested in separate design center in Europe and Asia. The Urban Outfitter has invested their own supply chain, which reduced both the cost and time like 24 hours. H&M and Urban Outfitters are closing the supply gap by getting new product to market quickly and effectively. Contents. Definition of operation management, international operation management, the nature of international business operations, international operations process. How we manage international operation. World business investment, operation management, the set of activities an organization uses to transform different kinds of inputs in final goods and services. International operation management, transformation related activities of international firm. We have strategic content, differentiation, cost leadership focus, standardized versus customized product. Acquisition of resources, supply chain management, vertical integration, make or buy decision, location decision, country related decision, product related issues, government policies, organizational issues, logistics and materials management, flow of materials, transportation options, and inventory levels packaging. Orders 3, generic strategies, cost leadership, producing and marketing a good quality product at lower cost than competitors. Differentiation, creating a product or service as perceived as being unique through the industry. Focus strategy, a firm's generic strategy based on appeal to the narrow market segment within an industry. Leadership strategy. Old Navy, clothing, Kia automobiles, Walmart. Differentiation strategy. BMW automobiles, Apple, etc. Focus low-cost strategy, IKEA home furniture, Southwest Airline, etc. Focus differentiation strategy, Rolex watches and Rolls-Royce automobiles, etc. Standardized production, the process of setting generally informed characteristics of a particular good or service source. We have customized standardization, efficient cost leadership, standardized aid production, differentiation, customer responsiveness, and customized production. We have strategic context of international operation management, different types of strategies, people, planet, profit concept. We have strategic context as IOM. Central role of OM is to create potential for achieving superior value of the firm. A value-adding activity intended to create or add new value to the organization's inputs in ways that directly impact outputs. That is, operation management is a value-adding activity intended to create or add new value to the organization's inputs in ways that directly impact outputs. If operations can take $2 worth of inputs and create $10 worth of goods and service, it created considerable value. Differentiation strategy, cost-effective strategy, focus, standardization, customization, product, processes, and technologies. Differentiation strategy. A differentiation strategy consists of creating differences in firm's product or service offering by creating something that's perceived as unique and valued by customers. The operation management function must be able to create goods or services that are clearly different from those of company's competitors. Prestige brand image, BMW automobiles, Rolex watches, innovation, Apple iPad, features, Honda Goldwing motorcycle, customer service, American Express, Alipay, design could be Denzel Blue Jeans. Differentiation strategy. For firms like Porsche or Rolex wants to compete in the basis of the product performance and status. Cost will be less important to the product quality and design. For example, Porsche never considers shifting production from staggered to lower labor costs local because of the highly skilled and committed work. Porsche is vital to producing high quality cars. A firm's generic strategy is based on appeal to the industry-wide market using competitive advantage based on low cost. The operation management functions must be able to produce the cost of creating goods or services to the absolute minimum so the firm can lower the price while still earning acceptable level of profits. In this case, cost and price issues are central, whereas quality may be less critical. As a result, location production facilities where labor costs are especially low may be highly appropriate. Cost leadership strategy. It requires a tight set of interrelated tactics, aggressive construction of efficient scale facilities, vigorous pursuit of cost reduction from experiences, tight cost and overhead control, cost minimization of all activities in the firm's value chain. Here we can see IKEA and global presence. For example, IKEA has become a global retailer by offering a wide range of appealing products at extremely low prices. Has 31 distribution centers in 16 countries and uses a network of 350 suppliers, 50 countries to produce and manufacture products as expensively. The firm uses standardization products, processes, technologies in every market where it does business. Then its operating system can and almost certainly should be globally integrated. Such firms may choose to adopt a global product designs to capture more global efficiencies generated by their operations. We have standardized customization product processes and technologies. On the other hand, if it uses a unique operation system in the market, where does the business, such as goal integration, not only necessary but also likely to be impossible? Often such firms adopt a global area design to promote responsiveness of their operation managers to local conditions. For example, Intel uses standardized operation management strategy that makes microprocessors using the same manufacturer business processes around the world. Thus, it can share technology between plants and freely ship component parts between factories in different countries. Similarly, the year's automakers had a goal of creating a global automobile that could be manufactured and sold using the same design and brand name everywhere in the world. Ford achieved that goal and Focus became the best-selling car in the world. Controversially, Nestle trailers has a mix of products as well as their ingredients and packaging across markets. So, although there may be some sharing of production technology, global Nestle tends to operate each production facility as more content unit. The People, Planet, Profit. Hong Kong government asking shipping companies to voluntarily use low sulfur fuel to reduce pollution and offer the modest financial for them. A total of 18 shippers, include a larger container shipping company, Master began to occur. These companies saw government increase the covers of 40% high using higher fuel costs. Other shipping company uses standard fuel was cheaper than the high fuel cost. They claim their voluntary compliance has put them at a competitive disadvantage to dozen shippers using the dirtier but cheaper fuel. Along with the Magic and other companies, they threw down the gauntlet to the Hong Kong government to solve the problem they faces. Government have agreed to look at the situation, but observers are confused about the sincerity of the matters because pollution readings in 2011 showed substantial fall in the air quality over preceding of 5 years. Contents, complexities of international operation management, definition of product management, dimensions of product management. Complexities of international operation management. The basic complexities inherent to the operations management focus on production problem itself, where and how to produce various goods, and operation managers typically decide important and complex issues in 3 areas. Resources. Managers must decide where and how to obtain the resources in the firm needs to produce the products. Key decisions relate to the supply chain management and vertical integration. Location. Managers decide where to build administrative facilities, sales offices and plants, and how to design them, and so on. Logistics. Managers must decide on the modes of transportation and methods of inventory control. Complexities of international operation management. All firms, whether domestic or international, must address the issue. However, resolving them far more complicated than international firms. A domestic manufacturer may deal with local suppliers, be subject to the set of government regulations, and compete a relatively harmonious market. Have access to integrated transportation network and ship the goods relatively short distances. An international manufacturer, on contrast, is likely to deal with suppliers from different countries and confront different government regulations whenever it does. International operation managers must choose the countries in which to locate production facilities, taking account factors such as cost, tax laws, resource availabilities, and marketing considerations. They also must consider the impact of facilities, location, firms' ability to respond to change in the government tastes and preferences. 3 main dimensions of product management: supply chain management, international facilities location, and international logistics. Supply chain management, vertical integration, make or buy decision. Supply chain management, set of processes and steps to the firms they use to acquire the various resources it needs to create products. Supply chain management is the management of the flow of goods and services and includes all processes that inform the raw materials and final products. The first step in developing a supply chain management strategy is to determine the appropriate degree of vertical integration. Vertical integration is the extent to which the firm either provides its own resources or obtains them from other sources. Integration of steps of operation management process. Example, BP is fully integrated international business organization who is engaged in the worldwide exploration and distribution of natural gas and crude oil. BP owns and manages its own exploration. We have units, refineries, pipelines, trucks, and retail outlets by themselves. From beginning to end, the managers and the steps by themselves. Hecken NV is the world's 3rd largest brewer in the example of relatively less Vertical integration. The firm buy grain and other raw material from agriculture competitors. They buy, bottle, and level and cartoon from the other suppliers. And the production sells them to the distributor, and the managed is only managed by themselves and depends on the other for other steps. Make or buy decision. Make or buy. You might make it maybe by yourself or partnership. Maybe it's control, not control. Maybe you want to buy it. Short-term supply relationship, long-term supply relationship. And in deciding how to acquire the component necessity from the manufacturer, a firm's product, there are two choices. Make a component itself or buy the component from the outside suppliers. Influence factors, make or buy decision. Size. Larger firms are able to get the benefit from making a component because of the economic scale. Scope of operations. Making gives more scope to operation than buying. Technological expertise. If a component requires technological expertise, which a firm doesn't have, they may go for buying rather than making. Nature of a product. If there is an uncertainty of a product demand, a firm should go for buying rather than making. We have competitive advantage versus strategic vulnerability in the make or buy decision. Potential comparative advantage, low and high degree of strategic vulnerability. We have the cost, flexibility, investment, risk control. Cost is when the firm goes into decision whenever it is less costly. Control, making gives more control over the product, quality, delivery, design, and cost. And buying may cause more dependency on the external supplier. Risk, making increased financial and operating risk in foreign market. It also bears political risk in the country. Investment in facilities, technology, and people. Buying from others lowers the level of investment, and by not making a component gives opportunity use that capital in other productive uses. Flexibility, buying rather than makes gives more flexibility to change suppliers as custom circumstances change. Accurate for business in which technology is rapidly evolving. Consider location, decision, and international business. Determine the location. The firm must consider the following issues: country-related issues, product-related issues, government policies, and organizational issues. Country-related issues: resource availability and cost, infrastructure, country of origin effects, resource availability and cost. And countries that enjoy large and low cost endowments of the factor of the production will attract firms that factor production. For example, Bangladesh has attracted toy, footwear, and textile manufacturers and low-cost labor. Infrastructure. It affects the location, production facilities, construction materials, equipment, material suppliers, construction contractor. Country of origin effects. Certain countries have brand images that affect the product marketing. For example, Japan for manufacturing high quality products, Italy for stylish design product. In experiment, Timex watch, it's found that customers' interaction on buying has fallen by 6% when they listen to the watches made in Pakistan rather than Germany. Value to weight ratio. Production technology. Value to weight ratio. It affects the importance of transportation cost. Low value to weight ratio. High value to weight ratio. Low value to weight ratio. Goods with the LVWR are iron, ore, cement, coal, bulk, chemical, raw sugar, and other agricultural goods. Tend to be produced in multiple locations to minimize transportation costs. High value to weight ratio. Goods with the HVWR are microprocessors, diamonds, etc., produced in a single location or a handful location without a loss of competitiveness. Production technology. A firm must need to compare its expected product sales with efficient size of facility. Example is a minimum effect size of petroleum refinery is about 200,000 barrels a day. BP can produce about 5 million barrels per day, and BP operates 17 refineries, UK, Spain, and Colombia. Government policies, stability of political process, national trade policies, economic development incentives, the existence of the foreign trade zones, FTZ. We have the stability of political process. The government can alter fiscal, monetary, and regulatory policies. Unforeseen changes in taxation policy, exchange rates, inflation, and labor laws. National trade policies. A firm can be forced to locate a facility within a country with a high tariff and other trade barriers. For example, Toyota, Nissan, Mazda built factories in U.S. to evade the export restraint imposed by the Japanese government. HB built PC manufacturing facility in Sao Paulo to avoid Brazilian important tax. Countries often seek to attract new facilities by offering international firms inexpensive land, highway improvement, job training programs, and discounted water and electric rates. For example, the governments of New Zealand and South Africa offer filmmakers incentives to shoot their countries. On the other hand, the government of France sold the suburban land to greatly discounted rate to build Disneyland Paris. FTZ allows international firms to import products at duty-free. It gives the firm greater flexibility, creates avenues for lowering the cost. For example, Port of Houston, used primarily for storage, and the non-U.S. automakers where Toyota and Nissan can store their automobiles without payment of important tariff. Organizational issues, firm's business strategy, firm's organizational structure, firm's inventory management policies. Firm's business strategy may affect the location decision in various ways, such as firm can adopt the cost leadership strategy. They seek out low-cost location. Firms that focus on product quality must locate the areas that have adequate skilled labor and managerial talent. For example, Veriton does with Italian production facilities or better control at Bennington Quality. Some firms find that strategic goals can be better met by dispersing facilities at various locations. For example, Intel has manufacturing assemble plant in Ireland, Israel, Malaysia, China, Costa Rica, Vietnam at low-cost resources. To protect the firm against foreign exchange rate fluctuation, some firms also do multiple production facilities. For example, FCMC often shifts orders for food packaging machinery from Chicago to Italy and vice versa. Depends on the value of the dollar and the euro. Adopting a global area structure, decentralized authority of the area of the managers. Here, factories are located within the area to produce goods sold within the area. Firms having a global product structure will locate factories anywhere in the world to meet the firm's cost and quality performance goals. Cost of maintaining inventory, storage, spillage, and loss, opportunity and cost. The firms need a balance, reducing cost of maintaining inventory against the needs of the finished goods. Factory location, level of inventory, they affect each other because of the distances and transport times involved in shipping goods. Walmart purchased TV in the U.S. stores from a Taiwanese factory. Walmart's inventory level will be higher if purchased from a Mexican factory. Just-in-time inventory management system. Firms, suppliers deliver their products directly to the firm's manufacturing center. Here, the supplier is delivered as just their needed production. Suppliers often locate their facilities near their major customers to meet the JIT requirements. Contents, bringing the world to focus definition of international logistics and material management and domestic versus international management. Moving here and there. It seems like yesterday that manufacturers was moving their production facilities to Mexico. A business-friendly government combined with abundant supply of low-cost labor made the northern Mexican border a perfect place to set up shop. The NAFTA made it relatively painless for the businesses to move materials and finished goods back and forth across the border as needed. But good times slowed in the early years in the 21st century as Mexican wages crept higher and higher and China emerged and the world's exciting new manufacturing center. So the Dro's business shut down Mexican operations and moved China. In the next decade, China's burgeoning manufacturing boroughs firmly established the country as a low-cost manufacturing hub. For example, multinational firms, major shipping ports like Singapore play a major role in international logistics. The first sets of activities are called materials management, and the third one is called physical distribution. We focus on material management areas of logistics. Here, there's three basic factors that differentiate domestic and international market materials management functions. Distance involved in shipping, sheer number of transport modes, regulatory context. Distance involving shipping, shipments within the largest country seldom travel more than thousands of miles, and shipments travel much less. For example, the road between New York City and Los Angeles about 2,800 miles, and distance between New York and Tokyo and Sydney about 4,300 miles, and 6,700 miles and 900 miles respectively. Thus, assembling component parts in Kansas City, Chicago, and St. Louis and shipping them to Cincinnati for distribution is much easier than assembling them in San Diego, Montreal, or Cairo, shipping them to Singapore for final assembly. Here's a picture of the maps. Sheer number of transport modes. Shipment within the same country often use a single mode of transportation, such as a truck or rail. However, shipments that cross national boundaries, especially shipments traveling in great distances, almost certainly involve multiple modes of transportation. For example, a shipment bound to Kansas City and Berlin may use a truck, a rail, ship, or rail or truck again. In the regulatory context, much of the complex from domestic material management, shipments cross through several countries as a subject to regulations of the country. For example, NAFTA saw a streamlined international shipping guideline and procedure. Transporting goods across national boundaries, still complex, involves much red tape. Contents definition of international service operations, characteristic international services. International service operations. The service sector has emerged in recent years as an increasingly important part of many national economies, especially developed countries. For example, service sector accounts for 3/4 of the U.S. gross domestic product and the source of most jobs. An international service business is a firm that transforms resources into intangible output and creates utility for customers. An example of an international services are British Airways transporting passengers to London to New Atlantic. Services have several unique characteristics that create special challenges for firms that want to sell services in an international marketplace. Services are intangible, services generated are not storable. Services often require customer participation. Many services are tied to the purchase of other products, and we have variable, inceptible, lack of ownership, perishable. Other characteristics, variability, insensible, lack of ownership, perishable. A customer services are intangible. Customer who goes to store and buy an Apple iPad is a tangible product. A customer goes to accountant to obtain advice leaves with untangible knowledge can't be hold or seen. Services generally are not storable. Often they are created ahead of time and involve saved for future usage. A service call to repair a broken washing machine can occur only when technician is physically transported at the site of a broken appliance. Services often require customer participation. International services like tourism cannot occur without physical presence of a customer. Because of customer involvement and the delivery of service, many service providers need to customize the product to meet purchasers' needs. Many services are tied to the purchase of their products. Many firms offer product support services such as assistance in operating, maintaining, and repairing products for customers. For example, Swedish appliance maker AB Electronics manufactures vacuum cleaners, refrigerators, washing machines, and other appliances. The firm also serve operations set up to repair these products for customers who buy them. Variability. Same service may vary from firm to firm. For example, items of KFC may differ from local firm. Inseparable. Service cannot be separated from the individual service of customers. For example, salon service or service of beautician. Lack of ownership. You have customers who don't get any ownership title from service provider. For example, traveler gets nothing from a ticket and shift location. Perishable. Services are perishable. Example, like a seat on a plane, journey to a restaurant, or loss when the value of takes off or closes the door. We have a role of government and international service trade. The government's contribution is an important dimension of the international service market. Governments have supreme power to determine a lot of the international service trade. Government initiatives protect local professionals. Many governments seek to protect local professionals, mostly in the field of accounting, medicine, and law. Government upheld domestic standards and credentials by restricting by foreign ability to practice. Stimulate government regulations. Government often determine which firms are allowed to enter service markets, and prices firms may vary and offer. For example, foreign banks and insurance firms working in the U.S. are heavily regulated, complied to follow the directives and numerous state of federal and regulatory. Government permission requires many governments, telecommunications, transport, and utility firms need government permission to serve individual markets. For example, airline routines, U.S. industry are conducted bilateral achievement as a U.S. carrier can fly passengers from the United States, so U.S., Melbourne, and Sydney. Reductions and barriers. Deregulation and reduce trade barriers to serve trade and a high priority of WTO. They create opportunities for firms, industries like banking, telecommunications to seek and expand new markets in domestic foreign areas. These changes also trigger various ways of conducting strategic alliance, cross-border investment, and new startup companies all over the globe. Managing service operations, basic issues of service operations. The actual management of international service operations involves a number of basic issues. They are capacity planning, location planning, facilities design layout, and operation scheduling. Capacity planning is deciding how many customers in the firm will be able to serve at one time. Because of the close customer involvement in the purchase of the services, capacity planning affects the quality of the services provided by customers. Example is McDonald's first restaurant in Russia was considerably larger than many of the other restaurants to come. They anticipated higher levels of sales revenue. Volume. Despite the larger size, customer waiting times at Moscow restaurant were much longer than those in the United States. The lack of restaurant alternatives in Moscow made more willing to stand in line for the Big Mac. In contrast, if customers had to wait in line to be served in Boulder, Columbus, or even Paris, McDonald's would lose much of the business. Location planning. Location planning is important for international service operations. By definition, most service operations must be close to the consumer to plan to serve. Expectations may information providers to rely on electronic communication. Indeed, many international service operations involve setting up branch officers of the foreign market and then staffing each with locals. Proper lookout and layout. International service facilities also are more designed. Though proper look and layout are established, at times firms operating internationally may highlight their foreign identity and blend their home country heritage with local cultures. Firms have knowledge about the foreign country's culture or ethics. Most U.S. donut drinkers, for instance, were unaware of Dunkin' Donuts was owned by British conglomerate for many years, but they should be aware of British conglomerate's reputation of Dunkin' Donuts, operating scheduling, international service, scheduled operation the best meet the customer needs. For example, airlines transporting passengers from the United States to Europe generally depart late in the evening. Doing this gives the passengers opportunity to spend some time the day before they depart and they arrive the early morning next day. Contrans westbound flights usually leave Europe in the morning, arrive in the United States late in the afternoon. Scheduling provides an optimal arrangement because it factors in customer preferences, time zones, jet-lagged aircraft utilization, and maintenance requirements. Recognized service component is organization, the nature of service, process providing service, decisions affect service, should be evaluated more and more, understand service encounter, knowledge about service organizations, customer participation, encounter by denominating. The component can be great help in service operation management. Understand customer factor and service success. Customer factor means his or her expectations, attitudes, perceptions regarding service. Mentions of service quality, reliability, responsiveness, assurance, empathy, tangibility, etc. Understand how to formulate service strategy formulation. Process generally depends on the environment analysis, SWOT, corporate level strategy, business level strategy, automation, etc. Learn OM tools and techniques useful in the service operation management. We should have a clear idea about project management, quality control equipment, maintenance policies, etc. Now, service operations perform activities and processes required to deliver a management service to a agreed level of business servers and customers. It's responsible for ongoing management of the technology that's used to deliver and support services. So managing service operations effectively is important in the organization. Definition of productivity, importance of productivity, general strategies of enhancing productivity. Productivity is the economic measure of efficiency and summarizes the values of outputs relative to the value and inputs used to create outputs, output per unit input. Importance of productivity. It helps determine the firm's overall success and contributes to long-term survival. It contributes directly to the overall standard of living in the particular country. General strategies for enhancing productivity. There are several general strategies a firm can pursue. The efforts to maintain or boost productivity. These approaches in the particular help firms become more productive. Spend more on the research and development, R&D, improve operations, and increase employment and involvement. Spend more time on research and development, R&D. R&D can identify new products, use existing products, and give new methods to making products. Each of these outcomes in turn contributions directly to higher productivity. U.S. firms can spend more on the R&D than their competitors. Improve operations. A firm seeking to increase productivity needs to examine how to do things in the way they are more effectively. Ways to improve operations and boost productivity are replacing outmoded equipment, automaking selected tasks, training workers to be more efficient, and simplifying manufacturing process. Japanese manufacturers have been especially successful at increasing productivity through improved operations, JIT manufacturing inventory control techniques, consistent investments in technology, and concentration efficiency have been paid big dividends for Japanese firms. Increased employment involvement. The idea is that managers give employees more to say in how they do their jobs. Those employees will become more motivated to work and more committed to the firm's goals. Further, they are able to ones actually do the jobs. Employees probably have more insights and they do their job better. Employee involvement can be increased by self-managed team. Groups of workers are formed in teams, each with considerable autonomy of how to do the job. Then we have the quality, totality of the features and characteristics of product service, the bear that satisfies stated needs, American Society Control, importance of maintaining quality in IB. Some Korean companies initially had difficulty competing in Europe because the quality. Europeans perceived that Korean products were not the same quality as European firms made. Korean companies overcame the problem by establishing the alliance, working at it. Okay, managing quality, you can see SOI 9,000, series of quality, international organization, or IS 14,000. Competitive set encourages companies cleaner, safer, less wasteful way. Quality involvement with total quality management, that's TQM. TQM is integrated effort to systematically and continuously improve the quality of product and services. Key components: statistical process control of a family of mathematically based tools. Information is the data in the form that the value of the manager and the decision and performing related tasks, or information management necessary for the decision-making process. Managers use information to better understand the firm's environment, and managers use information to help them decide how to respond to the environment. Information is used for setting strategic goals and map out strategic plan. Related diversification and unrelated, centralized, decentralized. That's it for today. All right, make sure you do your summaries, and I will see everybody next time. Have a blessed week.